Thank you all, and peace be upon you all for being here today, and peace also on our non-Muslim friends or those of other faith or no faith. And I wanted to start by acknowledging that we're standing on the land of the indigenous people, those who we identify with their struggle, because we Palestinians and them indigenous are going through the same struggle and fighting the same ideology that have caused pain to both of us. And I wanted to start by offering a prayer on the souls of the shuhada who have risen, not fallen, in Gaza, in Rafah, in Mawasi, in Beirut, in different parts of the world, those who have stood for justice. And by the way, you do not have to be Palestinian to stand for the Palestinian cause. All you need to be is to be a person of morals and principles. And I trust that all of you have that in your conscience, and that's why you're here today. So I want to congratulate you for being who you are, and I wanted to thank you on behalf of the children of Gaza, those who have suffered a lot. And I want to thank you on behalf of the mothers in Gaza, the elders, those who have been for a whole year going through a lot, but they do not have a choice to say, we're exhausted, we're tired. And for them, we need to continue to keep going and never to give up, because the brutality of the war that has been exposed on them unjustly is causing too much pain and so much suffering. To my Palestinian friends, I'm sure you have lost a family member, or have lost a loved one, or an extended family member, and you're still struggling to accept the fact that they no longer are here with us and they are gone. But I can assure you, for the 25,000 children in Gaza who have lost a parent and become an orphan, their struggle is completely different than yours, with all due respect of how much suffering you're experiencing and dealing with. But for the little children of Gaza, it's completely different. And that's what I want to plead for you today. As my last daughter speaker was saying, don't give up, because we cannot afford it. The children of Gaza cannot afford it. We need to stand up to the last breath and continue to stand for justice and for haqq. For those 25,000 who've become orphans, either by losing one parent or two parents, life is no longer the same for them. Let me walk you through the story of Razan, which was presented by one of the UNRWA's representatives in a briefing meeting, who himself was in Gaza for a short time on February 2024. And then he said he interviewed a few children. Among them was Razan. She is 11 years old. She had a mom, she had a father, she had two siblings. They fled from Gaza to what's so-called safe place where they sought refuge. And one day, maybe one night, Allah knows, she woke up on a cruel reality. A bomb was dropped onto the place where she was staying with her uncle. That bomb caused the following: killed her mother, killed her brother, killed her 2 siblings. She was injured. Her leg was amputated. Her wounds were infected. She suffered a lot. And she continued to live in pain because of the lack of the necessities of medication that would help a child who's wounded, who have lost everything in life. Razan now, a child with mobility difficulty. This is what she is dealing with physically, but psychologically, she is a child who is very traumatized. And I know the first thing would come to you, to your mind, is Razan is living with PTSD the rest of her life. That's just one of the symptoms that Razan will be dealing with. The more painful symptom she will be dealing with is the complicated grief that she will be trying to find an answer to, or struggle with the lack of not the psychological support for her, but for the lack of the necessities of living, of food and water and medication to ease the pain that she's physically living with. For those of you who are caregivers, or for those of you attending to become caregivers or practitioners in the medical field, you would know that whenever someone dies, a child or an adult, there's a team of specialists normally who work hand in hand to make it easy to reduce the pain and help the survivors to digest and deal with the grief of losing a loved one. Can someone help me to understand how an 11 years old would digest the fact that no longer mommy, no longer daddy are here, no longer my siblings whom I have connected with throughout my life, and I am left alone, hopefully with another family member, an extended family member, who's already struggling to support his own children or her own children, because now women have become the primary caregiver for these children. Can someone help me to understand who will answer the questions in the mind of Razan, who's struggling and waking up at night with flashback memories whenever she hears a bomb dropped? Who's gonna tell her it's okay, you will be fine? Who's gonna rub on her shoulder and give her a hug to make her feel comfortable? Who's gonna be there to answer the questions in her mind about whether I'm gonna be able to keep going in my life? Am I ever gonna be able to walk normally? Am I going to recover from my wounds? Am I ever gonna be able to live a normal life like those children I see on TV? I'm ever going to be going back to school or pursue an education? These complicated grief issues that she will be dealing with would not go away. They need an expert or team of expertise to help her be able to cope and deal with. The message for you today: please do not let the children of Gaza down. They cannot afford it. Please continue to stand for justice, because as I said, standing for Palestinians does not require from you to be a Palestinian. It requires from you to be a person of conscience. And among the crowd today here, and I'm sure there are those who are Palestinians or not Palestinians, Arab or non-Arab, Muslim or non-Muslims, and I'm sure that we do have even Jewish friends who are standing with us today. We're all together standing for justice. We're all calling for peace. We're all saying enough is enough. There's a lot that we all can do, which is changing the ugly narrative that has been promoted in public media or mass media about who is the real terrorist. The real terrorist is not the child who's running from one tent to another tent, or from one school to another school, or from one hospital to another hospital, after that hospital and that tent being bombarded. The real terrorist is not the child who's craving for having a sip of water, or having the basics of living, or the basic of food that would help them to maintain their life. The real terrorist is the one who's throwing 2,000 pound bomb on tents and destroying hospitals and destroying schools. The real terrorist who's sending aid of $111 billion to continue the killing and the cleansing of these innocent children and Palestinians who are rooted in their land. The real terrorist is the one who keep a shut mouth without speaking a word, or have numb emotions from reacting when they're seeing injustice taking place any parts of the world. And the real hero is the one who have live feelings and have spoken and demonstrated and done whatever they have in their ability to portray the real truth. And they will win one day, because truth has to reveal. The lies will never be able to reveal. Lies would never be able to fly. The truth is what will reveal, and you will be the soldiers of the truth, and you will win the narrative one day. And we will gain back our own Canadian values and bring Canada back to the stage where it was a true peace broker in the international arena. We need to continue with whatever means in civil manners to demonstrate to our officials or to our governments and say to them, enough is enough. Stand for Canada, stand for justice. We're behind you, and we'll change the narrative. Thank you so much for being here today. And more specifically, thank you for our non-Palestinian friends of all faith background who have showed the courage and helped us to be able to stand firm for our cause.